All right, so this training is called Build a 2,000 a Month AI Agency using, help if I didn't turn off my thing, using these two simple prompts, all right? And so what this is, the basics of this is I'm going to show you how simple it is to run a business, specifically our business, and you only need a couple things to make it happen, right? So let's get into it. So first and foremost, what is the business? So the business is simply this, okay? We're going to have a foot in the door service, right? A foot in the door service that we will offer as a trial. That's it, okay? Foot in the door service that we offer as a trial. Then the goal is, by showing the result of the foot in the door service, we get a business to say, yes, I want that. That looks or is great. Yes, I want that. Then we make the sale of the foot in the door service. Basically, that's where the money actually exchanges hands. And then once the foot in the door service is done, at that point, they are now a client. And ultimately, we're just going to sell them other things. That's it. Okay. So we'll have a foot in the door service that we'll use as a trial, kind of a results first, make it easier to kind of, instead of just saying, oh, this is something you could buy. We're like, hey, here's a result just for you. And they're either going to say, yes, I want that, or no, not. If they say, no, I don't, cool, we move on to the next. Right? There's a million people out there that we can help. This process sets us up to be the most successful because there's the least amount of friction to make this sale. Okay? We're not telling them what we could do, we're showing them. And so if they say yes, cool, money changes hands. And then we have as many other services as we want to offer. That can be right away, or that can just be over time, because now they're linked to us. They're connected to us. So I can make an offer for other services right away, or I have permission essentially to check in on them down the road. If they're not interested now, I essentially got permission to check in on them to see how the first service is. And then, talk about, just discuss on whether things have changed, or maybe now's the right time to potentially add on the next service or services. Okay. Very, very, very simple, right? Makes sense, right? Now, as a foot in the door service, we are going to use AI built websites, and we are going to offer them between $500 to $3,000. Okay. $2,000 is going to be a nice sweet spot there, right? So why websites? The AI built, that's just for us. We're not telling them, hey, here's an AI built website for you. That's just what we call them. They're a website, but we are going to use AI to build them. Why are we going to offer this as the foot in the door? Well, there's a lot of things you can offer as a foot in the door, but you want your foot in the door service to meet some criteria. First and foremost, it should be something that a business owner would need or want. Ideally both. But it has to be something that they feel that they need. Okay? So let's just, as we go down, let's look at the website. Well, all business owners on the planet knows what a website is. Okay, so that's not in dispute. So first and foremost, we know it's something they already know and understand. But two, the most important piece of this is when a business owner thinks of a business idea and they say, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to start this business. And they decide on what that business, they know what the business is. They've decided on their name, maybe. One of the first three things that they're going to do or consider or plan is a website. They're going to say, oh, we're going to need to get a website up for that. Okay. So business owners have it ingrained in their head already that a website is just a necessary part of business. So we don't need to convince them. They already know that they need a website. Now, what's really cool is about that psychology is we're not necessarily going to be trying to find people who don't have a website, right? We're not going to be looking around and say, oh, I got to find someone before they get a website or else I'm just out of luck. That's not the way it works. Why is that? Well, because businesses, a lot of times initially, they just try to get something up because they don't have much money to spend or they don't know where to go. So they use things like GoDaddy website builders or Squarespace or Wix or something, or they throw something up or they paid someone to get something quick and dirty up just so they have a website. Some people maybe invest a little bit more. But what always happens down the road is eventually they get tired of that website or things in their business change. Or they add a new service and they go like, I need to get that on there. By the way, I kind of need a new website because this one's kind of ugly or it doesn't reflect my brand anymore. Or they have a brand makeover and they want a whole brand new. Bottom line is the website goes along their business journey with them. It's always there. And it's always something that they're thinking about and or something that will potentially change over time. It's not a one and done for most businesses. Okay. So I don't have to care whether they have one or not. The most important thing is I know that they need and or want a website. Okay. The next thing for this service that's very important is it needs to be easy to fulfill. What does that mean? It needs to be easy to do. And why is that important? Well, it's important because if this is my foot in the door service, this is essentially how I approach businesses and get a conversation started. And I'm going to be doing it on a results first basis. It's important that it's easy to do, or else what? Or else I'm going to lose motivation to keep doing it. It's going to be a hassle and a pain for me to do it consistently. Because as soon as someone tells me no, okay, well, I got to do another one, or then another one, and then another one, or I got to, another result, another result, another result. It's something I have to offer initially every time I start a conversation. So if it's something that's a pain in the ass to do, especially if they say yes and I have to complete it, it's not going to be something that I'm interested. It's going to be a chore. It's going to be one of those things like, oh, I got to get up and do this all over again. As soon as you have that attitude, you're pretty much indicating that you're going to fail because it's not something you will consistently be able to put your heart in and do. Okay. So it needs to be easy to fulfill. Well, building a website, I can tell you from personal experience, is not anything that is easy to do. Okay. You used to have to be a tech wizard and know coding and all this other junk. Over time, platforms and apps and stuff have come out to make it a little easier. But now AI is on the scene and has completely made it completely brain dead type work. I'm going to show you, we're going to do a demo, but in the end, I just have to type. I just have to type a few words. And it's going to build out a professional, beautiful website in minutes. Okay. So now this makes it easy to fulfill. This is great because before it wasn't. So we usually led off with marketing services. But going back to number one, not all businesses think they need and or want marketing services. There's some businesses like, yeah, I got to advertise and I got to figure it out. We got to get some marketing going. But there's tons of businesses like, oh, no, it's fine. We'll figure it out. Or I'm going to do some grassroots marketing and whatever, all this other BS that they come up with their head until they ultimately realize that they do need advertising. But I don't want to have to play that game of convincing people who haven't even thought of advertising, haven't even budgeted for it. I'd rather not play that game with my foot in the door service when there's something better that they already think they need and know they want, right? So it's just better psychologically, even though the advertising is going to do more stuff for their business, it's going to help them make more money than a website will, right? More than likely, right? Because of all the advertising and people that it can attract. But I have to play. I got to be smart and play their game. I got to think about their psychology. What are they thinking? That's how I'm going to sell more things. So leading off with the website, now that it is easy to fulfill, is a no-brainer because of this number one thing. Okay. And then the last thing for sure that it has to meet for my foot in the door service, it has to be priced cheap to perceived value. And I shouldn't say cheap, it should just be priced reasonably to perceived value. And what does that even mean? For a foot in the door service to be really effective, my price has to seem low for the value they think they're getting. That's simple. They have to feel they're getting a great deal, or I want them to feel that more so with my foot in the door service, especially. Again, why? Because that's my conversation starter. That's my foot in the door to working with this business over the long term. So I want the initial sale to be as frictionless as possible. So pricing my website between $500 to $3,000, I've already checked that box because the average website has cost over time $5,000 to $15,000 in that range. Small businesses have been paying that for years. So that's already out there. Even if now they think, well, I can't afford that, or I don't think it's out there in the world that small businesses have paying at a minimum $5,000 to $10,000 for just basic 5-page web business websites that you see on most local businesses. That's been the range. So me coming in at $500 to $3,000 is easily fitting into this third category because I have something to compare it to. Other websites have cost $5,000 to $10,000. If I come into $500 to $3,000, the perceived value is already there. It's very obvious. And why this range? Where you say, okay, well, how do I know when to charge 500 versus 3,000? That is based on your confidence level. Meaning there's people already selling these for $7,000 to $10,000. How is that possible? I just said 5 to 300. That's because this is a range that you can confidently offer and speak to businesses on because, again, why? Business websites have been priced 5 to 10,000. So you can confidently mention any price in this range and it's well below the value that they have been in the past. So my suggestion, if you're brand new, just starting, it's okay to start with 500. Get a website or two under your belt sold, then step it up. I think your sweet spot's going to be about $2,000. And what a great foot in the door service this is. Regardless if they get anything else from me ever, I'm putting essentially $2,000 in my pocket. Cool. That's pretty nice. So worst case scenario out of this, I only sell the foot in the door service. I put $2,000 in my pocket. Right? And so I check all the boxes here. So AI built websites are the perfect foot in the door. Now, how am I going to accomplish this? Well, I said 2 prompts. All we're going to need is a website prompt, something that builds the website when we use AI. And also we're going to use AI to build our outreach proposal script. So we're going to use a prompt for that. And that's it. Okay. We're going to use just a couple AI tools, 2 prompts total. And with that, and then with the foundation that we just laid, we easily have a $2,000 a month service. And that's just if I just sell the website. Okay. That's not including if I do sell those other services like we talked about back here. like review management, message marketing, lead generation, SEO, right? We have all those things in our back pocket that can increase our monthly revenue beyond, just selling the website. Okay. So now let's look at what this looks like. All right. All right. So first and foremost, what I want to do is I want to go and talk about where do I find these opportunities? Okay. I'm going to recommend that we start with a warm prospecting method, meaning, let me pull this up on the screen. Meaning we're going to use a prospecting method where people are literally already raising their hand and asking for help. Okay. And that's what we call computers reach. Okay. We're going to use sites like Upwork. There's freelancer.com. Okay. There's guru.com, where businesses go 24/7 and they post jobs asking for help. This is on Upwork. I did a quick search for jobs and web design. I'm not logged in, so it'll look a little bit different when you're logged in. And I got to sort it by relevance. I always want to sort it by newest, but for example purposes, these are already up here, so we'll just look at these. But I typically want to look at the newest, right? I always want to see the freshest jobs. But if I start here, okay, I don't have to guess, does this person, so going back to how do I know if someone needs a website or not? Like, okay, well, they probably already have a website. So how do I know if they're looking? This tells me. I don't have to guess. They are posting here because they are saying, hey, web designers out there, I need to build my website for my balloon business. Okay, as this first one here is. And by the way, I have money to do it. A thing about these sites is typically they force the poster, the business owner who is posting the project, they force them to put a little money in to prove that they have money for the project. Okay. So I don't have to guess whether they have money or not. Okay. So it accomplishes all the things that I want when I'm prospecting. I would love to be able to prospect directly to businesses who have the need, right? They have a need that I can fulfill and they have money. Well, here we are right here. Okay. So I wanted to scroll down a little bit, or I wanted to look at this, and let's just find a project. And I actually had found one, it was actually really neat right here, going back to the example of what I had said a minute ago. What did I say a minute ago? Right? What typically happens is when a business owner gets their first website, it's thrown together. And a lot of times they just use something like GoDaddy Website Builder, which is just a very cheap, basic thing that a business owner can get a physical website up, and it just exists. So they can say they have a website and it's done. Okay. So I thought this was really cool and really funny because again, they said, hey, we got a GoDaddy. We need a web designer. We want to redo our website because we rebuilt it here. And they actually provide the website. And so I went to it. This is their website. This is it. I can't scroll anymore. This is the total website. Now, of course, they have an About Us page. That's this. This is what a GoDaddy website. Look at this. There's nothing even on here. All right, that pulled me to a different tab. Contact us. They have this basic. This is it. This is their entire website. This is what I was talking about. Okay, so I don't have to. So why I'm showing you this, and I'm glad this project specifically popped up, is it doesn't matter what you think in your head. There are thousands upon thousands of these types of businesses out there. I don't mean this niche. I mean businesses in this situation where they just threw up a website and they need one. They need something rebuilt because theirs is crap. And even if these guys weren't asking for one, like I just came across them through some other prospecting method and I seen a site like this, you better believe I'm reaching out to them because look at this crap, right? But for them at that time, this is what they could manage, okay? And so these types of projects are always out there. These types of businesses are always out there, okay? And that's why this is such a great process and strategy that we're using, because these are the exact type of people we want to capitalize on, okay? And what's really awesome, these guys have a $5,000. Most people, I like to always say, okay, look, $5,000 budget, okay? So going again, it's like teaching everything for me. It's like reiterating everything I just said. What did I say the average website was? $5,000 to $10,000. Business owners that's just the reality of what it's been. This business owner thinks that, okay, yeah, 5,000. But I want to make a note about this. Sometimes you're going to see a budget of $50 or $100. The reason why you see that is those businesses, again, are forced to put money up. They have to put a percent of the money that they say the budget is. They have to put a percent of that in here. Now, the good thing about this business is they had to put a percentage of $5,000 up here. So these guys definitely have money. But a lot of other businesses, they'll lowball the budget, like $100, they'll put $100 or $50, so they don't have to put up as much money. But the other thing about that is, the reason why is they don't know what the budget is, meaning they don't know what they think their budget should be. That what they're expecting is people to reach out to them, bid on their project, and in there, they will have a conversation with the people they're interested in having a conversation with, and then there, the discussion about the actual price happens, okay? So why did I say all that? So you don't just base a project on its budget, okay? You base it on what is the project? Are someone needing a website rebuilt, or are they needing a brand new website? Is it a website is needed? Yes, cool, I'm bidding on it. Like I'm going to submit on it. And that's my goal every single day, submit on these, submit on these, submit on these, okay? So how does that even work, right? Well, it's as simple as I find a project of something that aligns with what it is that we're trying to do, which is build a website, okay? These guys are asking for one. So what's really, really, really cool is all I have to do is I'm going to copy this entire project, okay? Look, fixed price, $3,500 to $6,000, target timeline. They give you all this kind of good stuff. We're just going to take all of it initially, okay? And we're going to go down to to our first AI site that we're going to use, okay? And that is going to be lovable.dev, okay? All I'm going to do is I'm going to use this simple prompt that is, I need a website built based on the following project requirements. Okay, I'm doing this to keep it simple. We can add a little complexity to this, and of course, in the training, we do have some more complex prompts that make sure that we get a really quality website built right away. But this is going to be just fine. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just paste the whole project in there. Now, what I want to do is quickly just go down, and I only want things in here that are related to building the site. So extra things talking about price, that doesn't matter. So I got to pretend that Lovable is just a web designer that I hired. It's a web designer in my team, right? They're just sitting next to me in the office, right? And so what would I say to my web designer sitting there to have them build this site for me so that I can then show this business, okay? So what I would say is just simple stuff like, hey, let's build a five-page brochure type site, make it clean, modern, that kind of stuff. But when we get down, like handmade documentation so our team can make simple contact edits, I don't need to communicate that to them. I just want them to build the website, right? So I'm going to take out some of this stuff, like deploy and launch on our existing GoDaddy hosting, okay? I don't need to put that in there right now. Because I need Lovable just to build the website, not worry about like what happens after the web. Like it only needs to be relevant. Okay, required skills and experience. Okay, so again, is it something related to actually building it? No, this is actually what they're looking for in a person. Okay. So I'm going to remove this part because that doesn't help my website builder build the website. Right? I wouldn't say, oh, by the way, you need proven experience. No, I've already got my website builder right there. I don't need to say any of this stuff. Okay. All right. And then nice to have past work like copyright. Okay. That's just, again, more experienced stuff. Okay. Then again, what we're looking for in a candidate does not matter for the website. Budget and timeline does not matter for the website. To apply, please include, look, they're asking for portfolio, all this other stuff. We don't need estimated price. Okay. I'm going to delete all that. It has nothing to do with actually the site itself. Okay. So now once I've got it narrowed down to stuff that's just related to the website, I just hit enter. Okay. So I need a website built based on the following project requirements. Okay. And the cool thing is it actually has a link to their site in there. So Lovable will also be able to look at that. Okay. So this is my web designer now building the website. What's really cool is it's going to take minutes, not weeks, not months. I want to address something while this is building. Something in there about the experience, right? It said, I'd like to see a link to a couple other projects that you've done. Okay. So why is that? Right. Again, it's all about understanding psychology, because some people might be saying, oh, wow, Jason, I don't have any other. Oh my goodness. What do I do in this situation? I guess I can't bid on that. Nope. You're still going to bid on this. Why? Well, why does any business want to see examples of work before hiring the person? It's because they don't know what the person can do. The person could just be saying anything and have crap work. So they want to check and see, all right, well, what else, what have they done? So I can visually see what they've done. So I know if they're a good person to hire or not. Why this method is so crazy. Oh, it's actually asking me questions. Which design should I build? I like this. Let's do this one. Oh, I could have skipped it and have it just do it, but you know what? I'm going to say select. Let's do it. All right. So back to what I was saying is the beauty in this strategy is we are actually building their site now. Okay. We're building their site now, or I should say AI is. We're just chilling. We're just sitting back chilling. Okay. So when we submit our proposal, when we submit our bid in, we're going to include a link to the site. Like it will be live when we send it to them. It will be live on the internet. So we will actually be able to give them a link in the proposal, and our proposal will be built around showing them what we've built for them, the result first, the foot in the door. Okay. So what that does is, why that strategy is beautiful, is not only do we stand out amongst everyone else who is going to be saying, yeah, I can do that. Here's a link to my portfolio. And, here's a site I built for some plumber. And, I did this for this. And I can definitely, I'm a web designer that's just knows all his stuff. Okay. While they're all saying that, I'm saying, yeah, here's what I built for you. So I'm providing the result. I'm showing them. They're just talking. So I already stand out in that way. But it also eliminates the need for any kind of portfolio or social proof, because I am actually giving them their website. Like they will have a link to their website. So their psychology changes. It's no longer, well, I wonder what this person could do. Or like, oh, okay, yeah, they built a plumbing website, but I don't know. Can I imagine, like, how would my business work? I'm literally kind of I'm showing them their website. So now what happens is their website that they imagined now exists. And then they start making changes in their head, or thinking of what tweaks that they would make in their head on this website. So they're saying, well, I wonder if, man, this is really good. Maybe my logo, maybe I move my logo here. I like this section. I wonder, we'd probably put an image. We're going to have a good image of our team right here. They start picturing their business in the website. They essentially start taking ownership of it. And now they're just making changes versus wondering what it could look like. That flips a psychological switch of ownership. They're no longer shopping. They essentially now own this thing. And it's actually hurt. It will actually hurt more for them if they don't take this site than with anyone else, because they essentially have it pretty much in their hands, right? Versus someone else, they haven't even seen the site yet. So they're not attached to it yet. There's no way that they can build an attachment. With our method, there's a way to build some initial attachment to it that helps push the sale more into your favor. Because now it's about how would they tweak and change their site, right? Versus, okay, yeah, this person might be able to build something. And so they're also now no longer thinking of, well, I'd like to see this person's portfolio. No, they're literally looking at their site. Okay. All right. So this thing's building and doing its things. It's probably, there was a big bunch of requirements, and it also had a reference site. So it's probably looking at all that stuff. And so it's taken, some minutes here. Sometimes they spit them out. Like if I had just said, build me a site for a business that does this, right? It probably the site would already be built. But in this case, because there's a little bit more requirements and/or stuff for them to look at, references and all that, it has more stuff that it's considering, which is fine. Like that's fine. I'm going to have that built. So I'm going to have it do its thing. Okay. Cause it's still going to be a matter of minutes. What I can do, is actually, looks like the preview is coming up now. Oh, perfect. So I don't even have to go. All right. So look at this beautiful site. So imagine now I show them this. How does this compare? And I can have services pay, like all these can be their own. They actually are. All these pages actually already have content on them. Okay. Of course, that will ultimately, it is all editable, right? So once basically we would show them and they'd say, oh, okay, yeah, anything that they want can be changed, right? But this is giving them essentially the template. This is essentially giving them the template. Look at this, beautiful. So look at this site versus this. Look at what we've done. We've completely transformed this thing we've transformed it from this to a site that does literally look like it's worth $10,000. Definitely worth $5,000. Okay. And so now all we have to do is show this to them. We'll do that through submitting the bid, right? And so what do we need? We need the second prompt, which is us getting our proposal script. Okay. So let's go back quickly to the project. Okay. I'm going to copy it all. Okay. Actually, I'm going to copy. Okay. Yeah. Copy. I got it copied. So now we're going to go and we're going to go to the next AI tool. In this case, it's going to be ChatGPT. It could be any of these types of things. Grok, Claude, Gemini, any of the things. Okay. It doesn't matter. All right. All I'm going to do now is use the second prompt, which is I need an Upwork proposal script for the following web design project. I have already built the website and want to highlight it in the proposal. So please include a spot in the proposal for the website link. also want to focus on our results first approach versus just telling them what we could do. Okay. Space down. Now I'm just pasting everything. I'm leaving everything in there. Okay. And it's even like they even put a screening question in there. So my AI is going to help me with that too. Okay. So anyway, I went the entire project in here when I do this prompt because I want it to have a nice look at everything the business said so that we can make sure that we address it, including stuff like screening questions, but also the type of person they're looking for, all that. So we can have that voice right in the proposal. So now I'm just going to hit enter. And this time within seconds, I have my entire, it actually gave me a price of $4,800, which I can obviously change. I can change any of this. Okay. It gave me a spot here to paste the link. Okay. So now all I have to do is I would just copy this and paste it in and submit the bid. Okay. Now, one thing really quick I didn't show you is where do I get the link for the website? Up here, I'd hit publish. And this is my website URL. Now, what I would do is I would change, if I want to use this website link, which will just be free, it'll just be there. I would edit it to make it say direct demo because that's the name of the company. So now I have directdemo.lovable.app. Okay. I would hit continue. Okay. And it would publish it live. And I would just use this link. Like it would say, yeah, here's the link. Let's just do it. Okay. Public, anyone with the URL. Continue. Okay. I can do some SEO stuff. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to continue and just hit publish. Okay. So it's going to give me, it's going to publish it on this link right here. I would just take that link, insert it in the spot in the proposal where it says insert the demo link and submit that. Now, again, I would read over the proposal just to, clean it up a little bit if I want, or not clean it up, to look for anything that I might want to adjust the way it says something. I have complete discretion to say, hey, can you make this shorter? Or, hey, I didn't like the way you said this. Can you change the wording here? I can put my own little flavor on it if I want to. So you have that option. Okay. But look, let me click the link. And then let's go here, paste. And there it is live on the internet. So I can just copy this link and put it right in the proposal. It's live on the internet. This is now live on the internet. All of you can visit it right now. The second thing I want to highlight about this is if I want to, I can use this thing that says custom domain, right? And I can go to GoDaddy or Namecheap and buy a domain called mydemowebsite.com. And then I can add it here so that this link would say mydemowebsite.com. And then just like I was able to put the front part, change the front part to, like, in this case, direct demo, I could do that here too. I can make the first part say direct demo. Then the next next project that I bid on, maybe it's the balloon company and they're called Billy's Balloons. Well, I can build Billy's Balloons website in here too, and then add it to that same domain. It would be mydemowebsite.com, and I would be able to put in front of it, instead of direct demo, I'd be able to make it say Billy's Balloons. That way I can keep using that same branded domain over and over and over again for different projects. So I don't have to keep buying new domains. And that way I don't have it to say Lovable. If I'm worried about that, if I'm worried about them saying, oh, well, that's a Lovable site, I could just do that. Okay. Again, business owners can do anything and everything all the time. If they could, they would not be asking for help. Okay. But I get it, right? It's okay to have a branded domain. I just let you know that's how you publish the domain, and I can change that if I want. Okay. And then that's it. That's it. I'm just going to submit the bid. Okay. I would put my price, whatever that price is. Okay. In this instance, because they're saying a $5,000 budget, and down here, they're saying fixed price, I want to stay in this range. Okay. I'm probably not going to say, like, this should give you enough confidence to not do 500. Okay. You should be able to comfortably ask for $2,000 here. Okay. At a minimum confidence level, you should see that. You should just see they already think it's worth way more. That website that we just built looks like a $10,000 website. So again, like I said, the pricing, the strategy works so well because not only is it websites are something that all businesses want or need, it's super easy to fulfill. It took minutes for us to do that. But that third piece is so important too, right? We're priced very fair relative to what they think the perceived value is. So when they see that site, they're going to be, oh my God. And if we ask for $3,000, we could easily ask for $5,000 for this. But if we came in, say we said $2,000, right? Because we were like, okay, well, I'm comfortable with the $2,000. Cool. They're going to see that and they're going to be, oh my God, yes, I'm on board, right? Okay. And that's all we're doing every single day. I sell one website a month. That's $2,000, right? That's what I'm working towards, the $2,000 a month, just from the website alone. Anytime I stack a service on top of that, that adds monthly income every month. And that's an easy pivot after selling the website. All right, cool. Hey, the website's done, right? This is after they hire me. We make the changes. By the way, how do I make the changes? They say, okay, here's everything we want to change. Here's stuff we want to add. Copy, paste, AI, do your thing. Okay. It's that simple. Once that's done, once the website is done, it's a very simple pivot, very simple conversation to then pivot to other services. Because I can say something simple like, all right, perfect. Well, look, what are you guys currently doing to attract more eyeballs on this website? What are you doing currently for advertising to bring in new customers to the business? Because that's also something that I can help with as well. If you're down for a conversation, we can chat about it. And then just hear what they say. Oh, we got it all covered. We're like flooding with business and like, oh, so much business. We just needed a new website. Cool. No worries. Awesome. Congrats. Holler if you need anything. I'll check in on you later down the road, see how the website's treating you. Have a great day. Nice doing business with you. Okay. I get my review. I've reviewed them. Good. We're parted separate ways. I can check back in 30, 60 days down the road if I want to, 90 days, whenever I want. Hey, what's up? This is Jason here, just checking in on you guys. How's the website treating you? It looks like it's still doing good. How's business? Cool. Well, awesome. Well, look, I mentioned before I did marketing. Is it you guys still doing all right? How's the customer flow? You guys still getting? I can bring it up later. It's easy because they're connected to me now. Okay. Best case scenario is when I first brought it up right away after the website, they say, "Oh yeah, we'd love to hear what you got." And then I have the conversation, and maybe they need review management, right? Maybe they need some message marketing, some lead gen, SEO, maybe all of the above, right? I do this every single time. Not only am I selling websites, I'm able to start stacking monthly reoccurring service revenue on top each and every client, okay? And that's how I take, with a couple simple prompts, a very simple strategy, take something, work it up to a 2K a month AI business and beyond. Just following this process consistently. All right.